Preparing your own canvas is easy to do. It's less expensive, sturdier, and longer lasting than anything you'll buy at the store, and best of all, it's customizable. For this second step, all we'll need is some gesso, a wide brush, and a plastic container. We gesso canvas for two reasons. One is to act as a barrier. If we're painting directly on raw canvas, we're setting ourselves up for trouble. If we're working with acrylic, the raw canvas acts like untreated wood. It's extremely absorbent and will suck up as much liquid as it can. This means you'll have to use much more paint, as your first layers will be dulled from all of that absorption. If we're painting with oils, putting them directly on raw canvas is a disaster waiting to happen, as the oil in the paint will slowly deteriorate the fabric, severely compromising your painting's longevity. The second reason we gesso canvas is to tighten it. As the gesso dries, it shrinks, which constricts the canvas so that our surface is taut and rigid. This ensures that as the painting is exposed to naturally occurring environmental changes, such as fluctuating heat and humidity, the surface isn't compromised. The amount of tightening can be significant. Take a look at this canvas. It was extremely wrinkled and looked like it needed to be ironed, but after one coat of gesso, it tightened right up. Gesso is sold in a variety of viscosities. A professional grade will be very thick, whereas a student grade will be much thinner. As with most art supplies, the higher grade will cost more, but also last longer and perform better. This Utrecht artist grade gesso we're using is more expensive, but also thicker. We're going to thin it out with water for most of our layers, so while we paid a bit more for it, it'll go further in the long run. You can see that this gesso is about the consistency of icing. If you were to apply this full strength on a raw canvas, we likely won't get the penetration we need. For the first two layers, I'm going to water it down so that it can really soak into the canvas. When gessoing, we always work from center out, starting right in the middle and spreading out towards the edge. This ensures that it dries and constricts in a uniform manner. If you choose, you can also gesso the sides. As soon as that first layer dries, you'll notice that it's quite textured. Your gesso has loosened up some of the loose fibers in the canvas and frozen them into place. So it's a good idea to hit it with a really fine grit sandpaper real briefly, and it'll knock down all those high points. As we add subsequent layers, we'll keep thickening our mixture. Pro tip, it can be weeks or even months before you use your gesso again. Smoothing out the surface layer of your gesso reduces its surface area, making it less likely to dry out in your tub. Now we're ready for a second coat, and a third. If you choose, your final layers can be full strength, but keep in mind that this will create textured brushstrokes that dry, making your surface textured as well. Depending on your taste, you may like this. I prefer not to have to fight against that while I'm painting, and instead look to create a smooth, even surface. The amount of coats of gesso you choose to apply is a matter of personal preference. I recommend between 3 and 5. As with most things, the more you practice this, the easier it'll become to figure out what's perfect for you. I continue to lightly sand the surface in between layers. Layers typically dry in 30 minutes to an hour, depending on their thickness. And now we have a substrate that's ready to be painted on.